Hello there. I'm a storm navigating computer type K1 mounted on your Storm 11 vehicle. You can call me Matt. Let's go.
Now, this is a confusing game in understanding where it came from. The Japanese title is known as Mad Gear. There's also a US version of the game with English text going under the Mad Gear name too. Then there's the US title version known as LED Storm, which is the same game as Mad Gear. But wait, the original version of this game was actually called Rally 2011 LED Storm, and that's the better version in my opinion, and it's also the version you are seeing now. In this futuristic looking game, you can transform your vehicle from a car to a bike. In the final release game, which came out a year later in 1989, you can't change your car during gameplay. You must choose one of 3 vehicles before the game starts. Personally, I don't think the game is as appealing either, plus that cool talking intro is missing. Let's take a look at the final version of the game before looking at the ports. Now here's something odd. The home ports use the original game's assets, the assets from the beta release. I'm not surprised as they look much nicer. The only thing they don't include is the transforming car. So how good is the SD port? Well, one of the highlights of the arcade game was the awesome music. I have to say that despite the simple sound chip of the ST, we do get some nice tunes. It's just a shame that the same can't be said about the gameplay. This port is notoriously difficult. The time allotted to complete a stage basically means you have to do a flawless run. I couldn't even complete the first stage. I got so close a few times, but I can never do it because of the kamikaze AI that rams the shit out of your car. Some really nice music from the Fallen Brothers in this Amiga port, but sadly it's just the same as the ST when it comes to gameplay. Strangely, the lower frame rate at which this game runs actually makes it easier. That's not to say it's not without its problems. The engine bar still seems to deplete the same amount on a stage, no matter how fast you drive, and if you come off the track, God forbid you'll need to get somewhere in a hurry, because the elevator that brings you back is powered by snails. Why oh why are European home computer arcade ports developed by numbnuts? This Specky port could have been fantastic if it wasn't down to one stupid gameplay flaw. The energy power-ups appear off track most of the time, meaning they are impossible to reach, which in turn means you can't collect extra energy most of the time, resulting in a first stage that's harder to complete than it needs to be. It really is a shame because this moves fast, sounds good, and even looks good. As you may guess by now, Software Creations are responsible for every port so far, and they've all had something wrong with them. In fact, most games they develop are poor. Anyway, this Amstrad CPC port looks more like an early build of the game. It's that bad. No music, crappy graphics, horrible scrolling, no indicators during gameplay to tell you how much energy you have left, and the power icons being off track most of the time, just like the Specky port. Truly an awful mess. How about this? The Commodore 64 port actually allows you to transform from the car to the bike, just like the early version of the arcade game. Not only that, but its stages resemble the arcade more closely too than any other port developed by Software Creations. I'd even go as far as saying it played well too, if it wasn't for the overly strict energy limit. Thankfully in this port, the energy pickups float onto the track area as they should do. And let's take a look at all those versions of LED Storm running side by side.